Good evening and welcome into the Pacers Podcast Show. I'm Kyle Newman, your host.
And I'm Rhett Hensley, your co-host.
We have a great lineup for the next half hour. We will discuss the Pacers' last 4 games, answer the question, will Paul George go down as the greatest Pacer of all time when his career is over, and preview Indiana's next 3 games. Rhett Hensley, it's great to have you back. You were down and out for the count last week with the flu. How do you feel, buddy?
Feeling better. Glad to be back. Oh,
I'm glad to have you back. It's going to be a great Pacers podcast show, as this is our 4th one. We're a month in.
Oh, yeah.
Rolling. All right, well, let's get into this first segment here and discuss the Pacers' last 4 games, starting with the Knickerbockers. On March 4th, Indiana got the convincing win a week ago, just after our show ended, 105-82, to improve to 2-0 against New York this season. This was the second largest margin of victory for the Pacers this season. George Hill led the way for the Pacers with 21, followed by Rodney Stuckey with 17 and C.J. Miles with 16. Now, Roy Hibbert was given the night off for rest, as Vogel tries to manage his late-season minutes better this year. I read that. For the Knicks, Andre Bargnani led the way with 25, followed by Tim Hardaway Jr. with 13. Melo and Jose Calderon were out. Rhett, this was a game where the Pacers jumped out early, and they really never looked back. They increased the lead as the game went on. Indiana forced 20 turnovers, and they only had 11 themselves. And the Knicks have lost 6 straight regular season games now at Bankers Life. It was really a convincing win for Indiana. What did you see in this game?
Solid, great game. They shot 47% from range. They really just played great, and they didn't rebound that well, but as it shows, they shot a lot better than the Knicks. So the Knicks actually shot 39% from the field, which is not good.
It's not great.
Yeah. Tough one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find that stat interesting. The Knicks, who you could argue are the Pacers' biggest rival, even though they aren't in the division, back to the Reggie days of the Knicks and Pacers rivalry series. But really, that the fact that they've lost 6 straight games at Bankers Life Fieldhouse, the team is doing awful this year. Really a convincing win for the Pacers, a game that they needed to win.
Oh, yeah, the Knicks had 19 turnovers in that game. I'll tell you what, 19 turnovers will win you no game.
That's right. You can't turn the ball over that many times and expect to win. That's what I like to call fundamentals. Keys to the game. Fundamentals, rebounds, free throws, turnovers. So, yes, good win for the Pacers. Expected, really, against that poor Knicks team. Well, a couple nights later, the Pacers took on the Bulls on March 6th at home. Indiana pulled off another credible win against the division rivals, 98-84. The Pacers now lead the season series 2-1 against Chicago. Solomon Hill led the way for the Pacers with 16, followed by Jan Mahimi with 14 points and 11 rebounds. Got a nice double-double from Jan. Chicago was without Derrick Rose and Jimmy Butler. For the Bulls, Pau Gasol led the way with 18 points and 10 rebounds. Got himself a nice double-double, followed by Doug McDermott with 16. Dougie, yes, the Creighton rookie. This was a game of runs, and the Bulls kept it close for a while. The Pacers pulled away in the 4th in front of a crowd of over 18,000 at Bankers Life. Shouldn't be surprised with that stat. When the Bulls and Pacers meet, you can always expect a near sold-out crowd for that. But Indiana had 6 different players in double figures, which really led to wearing down the Bulls. I mean, Indiana's starters and backups each combined for 49 points each. So great bench production.
Oh, yeah, that's why they have one of the greatest one of the great benches in the season.
That's right. I mean, when your bench can score as many points as your starters, that's a recipe for success to get wins. There's no doubt about it. So really, great bench production was another key to the victory for the Pacers. Rhett, what did you see in this game?
Well, I saw that, they out-rebounded the Bulls by over 7 rebounds. I feel like that helped out. When you have Joakim Noah, and Pau Gasol. Pau Gasol, I feel like he's been playing out of his mind this year.
He has had a good year.
I don't think that he had a great game shooting as he normally does, but I think that helped as one of the things for the Indiana Pacers to build off of. Right. And, just great production from everybody on the team the Indiana Pacers.
And when you have Derrick Rose and Jimmy Butler, really the leaders of that team out, that certainly helps as well, and you kind of would expect Pau Gasol to lead the way. But nonetheless, 2 wins against the Bulls, I mean, they're good wins. At this point, every win is important.
Yeah. As a team, the Bulls did not shoot well. They shot 36%. Pacers shot 43%. So, that right there has a little bit of a little swing showing why the Pacers, pulled out a victory in that one. Just not great shooting for the Bulls that night.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, Pacers, another big win there. Well, the very next night, March 7th, at the Knicks, once again, Indiana grinded out their 5th straight victory, 92-86. The Pacers now have a 3-0 season series lead against New York. Rodney Stuckey led the way for Indiana with 17, followed by George Hill with 15 and David West with 14. For the Knicks, Andre Bargnani led the way with 21, followed by Alexei Shved with 15. This was a game of runs, Rhett. Defense was also key for the Pacers, as offense was hard to come by in this game. However, Indiana scored when they needed to, thanks mainly to the veterans George Hill and David West. They came back and they finished the game on the road against a poor rival team that was smelling blood, really, after getting embarrassed just a couple nights earlier. Rhett, this was the type of game I love to see the Pacers play. Great defense, which is their identity. The Pacers have allowed 86 or fewer points and limited opponents to under 40% shooting in every game of their winning streak. That is great defense right there. What did you see in this game?
The Indiana Pacers struggled from the field goal range. They shot 38%, but, the New York Knicks did not shoot very much better at almost 39%, but they pulled out a win. George Hill coming down, stepping up, and hitting a 3 with 2 minutes and 34 seconds left to take the tiebreaker. That's a momentum changer when you're away playing, and that right there just felt like to me took over the game right there.
No doubt, absolutely.
And David West with a double-double.
Yeah.
That's nice, impressive.
Exactly. Yeah, great win. Great win for the Pacers again. These teams will meet one final time on April 8th at New York. So, one more game against the lousy Knicks. All right, well, in the 4th game, just last night, versus the Magic at home, the Pacers dominated Orlando in this final matchup of the season, winning 118-86 to sweep the Magic 3-0. Indiana has now won 6 straight games. Rodney Stuckey led all scorers with a season-high 34 points. Damjan Rudez had 17.
Nice to see him.
Yes, it is. And Luis Scola added 15 for the Pacers. For the Magic, Tobias Harris led the way with 22, followed by Elfrid Payton with 14. This was clearly, Rhett, a game of the Rodney Stuckey show. made a season-high 6 3-pointers and recorded his third 30-point game of the season. I have a couple stats here for Rodney Stuckey. Listen to this. Rodney Stuckey's 25 points in the first half off the bench are tied for a season high in the NBA for any half. Brook Lopez had 25 off the bench in the second half against the Wizards back on January 16th. Also, Rodney Stuckey's 25 points in the first half is a career high for any half against the Magic. So Stuckey is continuing his consistent offensive production, seeming to really find his groove and helping the Pacers to win games. What did you think of Rodney Stuckey's performance in this game?
First off, good stat. Yeah, he played very well. 34 points, 7 assists. That goes off the rest of the team also. I feel like they
feed off of it.
Yes. I mean, they had 37 assists as a team,
incredible.
Which I think is incredible for a team.
Absolutely.
And, shot 52% from the field and 50% from three-point range.
It's incredible.
That is incredible.
It is. I'll get to that stat about the team threes in a second here, but really what I'm seeing here is the Pacers starting to look like the old Pacers. Defense being their identity and leading them, and leading into their offensive production when they need it, and then they're sharing the ball, and the team chemistry is there. I mean, Paul George doesn't even have to be back right now. This team is on a roll. They're finding their identity together once again. Rodney Stuckey, I mean, this man can come out and look like Reggie Miller out there with how confident he is in shooting the ball on some nights. So, I mean, I'm just really impressed with that. And we mentioned earlier, Damjan Rudez, he had 17, he made a season high 5 3-pointers, which is
Where's
why...
that been?
Yeah, exactly. This is why Indiana brought him in the first place. Maybe this will get him going more consistently, but certainly it was good to see him have a good night like this, because he has not been I think he's only been averaging 3 or 4 points a game this season. So, yeah, he's really struggled. It was nice to see him have a coming out party. And furthermore, the Pacers tied the franchise record for the most threes in a game with 17. Such an impressive shooting night for Indiana. I mean, a franchise record for threes, 17. We're going back to the Reggie Miller era. I mean, 17 3-pointers, Rhett. That's impressive.
Especially for a team that wasn't even supposed to be very good this year. That is impressive to me. 17 3-pointers. That's just Reggie talk right there.
It is. It really is.
Reggie talk.
It really is. Great shooting. A couple of studs here who should have made it to the NBA. Really love that. Really love to shoot the 3 ball. We really appreciate a team, players that can shoot threes, Rhett.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Well, this is another good one here. I find this impressive, and I find it being awesome that it keeps working. But this was another FloJo jersey night, and the Pacers are perfect this season when wearing their throwbacks 4-0. It seems to be the luck of the Irish as St. Paddy's Day is around the corner.
Oh, yeah. I sure do love those FloJo jerseys. And, I think that we need to keep them going. We need to keep wearing them.
I agree. I
believe it's coming to an end.
It is. We only have 2 games left. 2 games left do the Pacers have with the FloJo jerseys. So enjoy them while they last. Maybe they'll bring them into the playoffs if they can make it into the playoffs. So it certainly has been good. All right. Well, before we get to the next segment, we have 2 special soundbite clips in one of Paul George and Reggie Miller. It is awesome stuff. I think you will enjoy. Take a listen.
105.99, 18.7 seconds left. Miller for 3, and he got it. Reggie Miller with a clutch tray, and it's 105-102. And a steal. Miller retreats to the 3-point line. Reggie Miller has tied the game with 13 seconds remaining. Reggie Miller made a 3, stole the ball, raced behind the 3-point line, and in again.
Oh, what a shot by Paul George. It looked like Miami Heat was switching everything, and he got caught in between Haslam and LeBron James and decided just to raise up and take the three.
Wow. Is that good stuff or what, Rhett? Two special players. The past versus the future for the Pacers franchise. So the question is, Rhett, will Paul George go down as the greatest Pacer of all time when his career is over? Assuming he spends his whole career in Indiana like Reggie Miller did, what do you think first?
Well, that's a tricky one.
It is
I feel like it is. Paul George has got to stay healthy, and he's got to continue to improve. He's shooting, I think, around 43%. Reggie was shooting around 47% from beyond the arc for his, not beyond the arc, sorry.
Field goal percentage.
Right. In his career.
Yeah, impressive.
So, yes, and he's shooting an outstanding number for his three-point shooting also. Paul George is a two-way player, great defensive player, and great offensive player. And one thing that stands out with Paul George, he's an awesome team player. He's not afraid to share the ball, and that's just a tough one. I feel like he's going to be up there if he stays healthy and if he continues with the Indiana Pacers. But in my opinion, Reggie Miller will continue to be the greatest Pacers player of all time.
Wow, he thinks he'll hold the crown. He just went there, folks. Okay,
yes.
Okay, I can respect that. Reggie Miller is the man.
And one of the greatest people at, flopping. That he's going to hold with the Indiana Pacers for a very long time. Now, Lance Stevenson could have gave a good shot at that if he would have stayed with the Indiana Pacers.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true. He was a great flopper. He was also a great trash talker.
I love it.
Yes, you do. I know you like to talk trash. You're a trash talker, Red.
Yes.
As I've played basketball with you many times, you like to talk trash. But hey, makes it more competitive. I like it. All right. Well, for me, Red, Reggie Miller currently is the greatest Pacer of all time, hands down. When you think of the Indiana Pacers, you automatically think Reggie Miller. He is also my favorite player of all time. Now, I would say Jermaine O'Neal would be second on my list right now. And then I would say George McInnes and Mel Daniels would be the next two. And finally, Rick Smits to round out my top five. So George McInnes, Mel Daniels out of the ABA there. We're great players, very underrated. So that would be my top five.
Where's Ron Artest in that?
Ron Artest. Nah, not him. That's for sure. But Reggie Miller played in the NBA for 18 years and is a Hall of Famer. He averaged 18 points per game in his career. He scored 25,279 career points. That's good for 18th all-time in the NBA. First in Pacers history. He made 2,560 total three-pointers, which is good for second all-time. If it wasn't for that meddling Ray Allen, who had to pass him from the Heat. But he also shot 89% from the free throw line in his career. That is 10th best all-time. He was a clutch free throw shooter well as a three-point shooter. In the postseason, Reggie Miller averaged 20 points per game throughout his career. Miller was a 5-time NBA All-Star and a 1996 Olympic gold medalist. He also had a 50-40-90 club award in 1994. That means that what that is he shot 50% from the field goal range, 40% from the three-point range, and 90% from the free throw line for a whole season. That's impressive. And there aren't a whole lot of people that are on there. Another big name, Steve Nash, has multiple, but very impressive there from Reggie Miller. He only reached the NBA Finals once in his career in 2000, losing to the Lakers in 6. So, a solid career, Hall of Famer. Reggie Miller right now, greatest Pacer. Now, Paul George has a long way to go, as you said. I agree with that, Rhett. But in his 5th year in the NBA, has had a very successful career early on. Not to mention, he hasn't played a game this year. So technically, 4 years in the NBA. He has averaged 15 points per game in his career to this point. He has scored 4,388 career points and has made 483 total three-pointers, as well as shot 83% from the free throw line in his career. In the postseason, George has averaged 17 points per game so far in his career. And Paul George has been a 2-time NBA All-Star, has 1 NBA All-Defensive First Team award. He has 1 NBA Most Improved Player award. And Paul George has 37 double-doubles and 2 triple-doubles so far in his career. I think Reggie Miller only had 5 double-doubles in his career. So Paul George, like you said, two-way player, a lot of great awards early on in his career. He has reached the Eastern Conference Finals twice. So, Rhett, I'm going to go here. I think Paul George will surpass Reggie Miller as the greatest Pacer of all time when his career is over. If Paul George keeps up his current scoring pace, by his 18th year in the NBA, as you said, assuming he can stay healthy and is with the Pacers, by his 18th year in the NBA at his current scoring pace, he would end up with roughly 30,000 career total points, which is more than Reggie Miller. However, I don't think George will touch Miller's three-pointers made. But even if he doesn't pass him in terms of statistics, I still think he will win a couple of NBA titles for the Pacers, which Miller never did. I also think he will end up with more awards. George will end up a Hall of Famer as well. In the end.
Let me revise my answer there. If Paul George reaches the NBA Finals...
We have a revision here, folks. We have a revision.
If he reaches the NBA Finals and wins it, pushing himself past Reggie Miller for the farthest, he's went in the NBA in his NBA career, then Paul George, I feel like, would have the crown for the best Pacers player to ever live. And that is one thing that I feel like is needed for that to happen.
All right, so let me get this straight here. Let me make sure I'm following you. I want to see, there's different type of people on this that are on the spectrum. So are you saying if you think that Reggie Miller ends up playing at least 18 years or more and passes him in total career points, then that, in your mind, makes him the greatest Pacer of all time? Or does the statistics matter to you in that, or do the rings matter to you? What type of a fan are you? Because there are some that say you are only a great player, Hall of Famer, if you win rings. Or what type of statistics did you have in your career?
I feel like that statistics do matter, but rings matter also.
He's a ring guy.
So statistics do matter. I mean, you can be a great NBA player, kind of like Charles Barkley. You can be great, not win a title. You can be Steve Nash.
Plenty of players in all sports that never win titles but are Hall of Famers.
Yep, and you can still be good. But I feel like, Reggie Miller has made it to that point where he was an incredible player, did everything for the Pacers. Everybody loved him. But I feel like one of the things that is needed to surpass Reggie is that NBA ring.
Okay.
Shining off his finger.
Okay, I respect that. I fall on both sides of the spectrum. I think that statistics do matter. However, I do not think that getting a ring is what is necessary to be a Hall of Famer. And clearly, in Reggie Miller's case, is a Hall of Famer and never won a ring. I think I think there's a lot more to it. Clearly, Miller lit up the statistical categories and second greatest three-point shooter of all time, a lot of career points, but I think it's more about look at the players that Reggie Miller had on his team. Look at the leadership that he had throughout 18 years as a Pacer, and look at the competition during the 90s. I mean, you're going up against the greatest player of all time, Michael Jordan, and in your own division, not to mention Charles Barkley, all the other greats that we know of, Isaiah Thomas, the Bad Boy Pistons. I mean, it was a brutal, rough and tough league then. Reggie Miller absolutely
stayed
deserved
loyal.
the Hall of Fame. He did, and that's what I think is important for Paul George. If he stays loyal to the Pacers, if he stays healthy and has a great career, if he has doesn't have to be great statistics. If he has good statistics, if he gets around 30,000 career points and passes Miller, or even if he gets around Miller's 24,000 and gets in the ballpark of the three-pointers, or even not the three-pointers, because that's not Paul George's game. I would say that, and gets a ring or two, I would say that in my mind he will go down as the greatest Pacer of all time. And certainly a future Hall of Famer.
And one thing that frustrates me now with the NBA is, back in the day, Reggie was loyal. He stayed with the team, even though he didn't have that good of people around him.
Yeah.
And now, let's say like LeBron, he would have went down as one of the greatest to ever play the game if he would have stayed with the Cavs and never got a ring. But he went somewhere to get a ring. I don't think that should be that shouldn't be in the same ballpark as staying and being loyal. And if you get a ring with that team that you've been with, then I think that's more impressive.
I agree. I mean, I see similarities with Paul George coming in. I mean, he came in 2010, and this team was not an NBA Finals caliber team. I mean, the Pacers were in rebuilding mode. There was no team chemistry. You didn't know how good Paul George was going to be. He had been healthy throughout his 4 years, so
wasn't playing very much.
Exactly.
Either.
So, and the teammates around him were not big name players. Roy Hibbert was just in his third year,
traveling.
It took a couple years until George Hill and David West joined the picture. So I think that you see a lot of similarities. And Paul George just has so much time to reach Reggie Miller's status. So, in the end, these two players, in my mind, will be at the top of the list as the greatest Pacers ever wear the
uniform. Could go either way. Either way.
Absolutely. No question.
I'll be happy with it.
Right on. Well, let's get into this last segment here then, Rhett, and preview Indiana's next 3 games. On March 12th, tomorrow, against the Bucks at home, Indiana is 1-1 against Milwaukee this season. In the first matchup, back on November 4th, at home versus the Bucks, Indiana dropped the home game 87-81. Tight game. Brandon Knight led all scorers with 23. The Pacers were led by Chris Copeland with 19, followed by Roy Hibbert with 16. In the rematch game on January 2nd at Milwaukee, Indiana stole a close one, 94-91. C.J. Miles led the way for the Pacers with 22, followed by Roy Hibbert with 18. The Bucks were led by Brandon Knight with 20, followed by John Henson with 14. I expect this third matchup to be close, Rhett, like the last 2 matchups.
It's going to be different.
It will. I mean, the Pacers are one of the hottest teams in the NBA right now, 6-game winning streak, and all of a sudden, they can't lose at home.
And
this Bucks team, go ahead.
They got new players on their team also, which I think is going to play a factor. They got Michael Carter-Williams and Miles Plumlee. And did they get anybody else into that mix-up?
They might have gotten one more player. Those are the 2 big-name players. I mean, exactly. And they have a roster that is really starting to gel together and be built and be strong. Yeah. And this Bucks team is one of the surprise teams in the NBA this season. They're currently in the 6th seed, and they're above 500.
They're getting chased.
They are getting chased, which makes this an even bigger game. They are building a solid roster with young guys that play hard, and head coach Jason Kidd is doing a phenomenal job. I think, here's my prediction, right? I think Indiana will win by 2 at home. I think this will come down to the end, possibly a buzzer beater. I think that this will be a 2-point victory for the Pacers. What do you see in this game?
Well, just to have a little bit more faith in the Indiana Pacers, I'm going to go with 5 points winning by.
Oh, okay. So a few more marbles, but still close.
Yeah. So, I feel like the Pacers are going to come out. It is at Bankers Life Fieldhouse, and I feel like they're going to come out and, take over. But also the Bucks are also a young team. So, I feel like they're going to need to, man, I can never say his name.
It's a rough one. It's a rough one. Just try your best. Everyone will understand, Rhett. Try your best.
Tentacupo. I feel like they're going to have to watch out for him. He's a lengthy son of a gun.
He is.
And
he's a good player.
Yeah, he's athletic, and, they're going to have to watch out for him. But you're also going to have to watch out for the Indiana Pacers because they are on a hot streak.
They are.
And tell you what, gold and blue, baby.
Gold and blue.
Going to be packed.
How about blue and gold, Rhett? You've done it before. It's either way. Technically, they are their colors, but we know it's blue and gold.
Yeah.
Blue and gold.
Yeah.
Blue and gold.
Yeah.
Hey, it's okay. It happens to everyone. It happens to the best
sure
of us.
Does.
All right. Well, we both are predicting Indiana to get their 7th straight win here. Well, how about 2 days later, March 14th, at home again? Little homestand for the Pacers against the Celtics. Now, it is worth mentioning in this, Red, I just saw the report. Paul George isn't quite ready for his return to game form, so he won't play in this game. Maybe we don't see
Sad
him.
one.
It is. Maybe we don't see him in the regular season. Maybe we will see him in the playoffs. But you know what? The Pacers don't need him right now. So might as well stay healthy. Indiana is 1-1 against Boston this season. In the first matchup on November 7th at the Celtics, the Pacers lost a tight one, 101-98. Jared Sullinger led the way for Boston with 17, followed by Jeff Green with 15. For Indiana, Roy Hibbert led the way with 22, followed by Chris Copeland with 17. Now, the Pacers were without George Hill, David West, C.J. Miles, and Rodney Stuckey. In the second matchup on January 9th at Bankers Life, Indiana grabbed a close win in overtime, 107-103. For the Pacers, Roy Hibbert led the team with 19, C.J. Miles added 17, and C.J. Watson had 15. For the Bucks, Avery Bradley led the way with 23, followed by Brandon Bass with 17. Rhett, I think this third matchup will be a convincing win for Indiana at home.
I think you meant the Celtics.
Oh, wow. Listen, this will be somewhere around a 15-point victory. Boston has been very up and down as of late, and Indiana is rolling. I think it'll be a 15-point victory. What do you see in this game?
I'm gonna have to go against you on the score there again.
Are you going against me? Are you going against me in the sense? Are you picking the Pacers to not get their 8th straight win?
Oh no, they're gonna get their 8th straight win. But I feel like it's gonna be a closer game than that. They have Evan Turner. He former Pacers player. I feel like, that's true. But he has been playing pretty decent for the Celtics at points in time, and I feel like, he's going to come off and play pretty well. Zeller, he had a little game winner the other day. I feel like, they're a young team, and
they made some good trades.
They sure did. So I feel like, they're going to be a team to not sleep on for this one. So I feel like it's going to be, a little bit closer than that. So.
All right, I can respect it. Pacers win. That's what we hear. That's what we care about.
Pacers win.
That's right. Well, 8th straight win so far we're predicting here. All right, well, these teams will meet one final time on April Fool's Day at Boston. What a great day for the Pacers to continue their success, hopefully, against Boston on April Fool's Day. Jokes and everything at Boston. All right, so March 16th at home against the Raptors. the last game before our next show next week. This is the final regular season matchup between these two teams. The Raptors have the Pacers' number this season, currently with a 2-0 series advantage. Both wins were by double digits. In the first matchup on December 12th at Toronto, the Pacers fell 106-94. Lou Williams led the Raptors with 26, followed by James Johnson with 13. For the Pacers, Solomon Hill led the way with 16, and Rodney Stuckey and C.J. Watson each added 13. The last matchup on January 27th at Indiana saw the Raptors win again, 104-91. DeMar DeRozan led all scorers with 24. Kyle Lowry added 19 for the Raptors. For the Pacers, Rodney Stuckey led the way with 22. Solomon Hill added 15, and George Hill added 13 off the bench. I think this final matchup of the regular season, Rhett, will be a nail-biter. I expect Indiana to get their first win against the Raptors this season, especially at home. Toronto is descending as of late. They are currently
different team.
They are. They're on a 4-game losing streak, and they're 1-9 in their last 10 games, slipping in the Eastern Conference. So, meanwhile, Indiana is on fire, and they're playing great team basketball. So I think the Pacers win by a last-second shot. I'm going with another close one. The score is in the 100s. Last-second victory for the Pacers. They get their 9th straight victory before our next week's show. What do you think, Rhett?
The Raptors are, they've lost their last 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so as of now, I feel like they have been descending down. They're a team that is different from the beginning of the season. They were
hot. They were hot.
Oh yeah, they were playing outstanding basketball. They were playing up there with the Hawks, and I think that the Indiana Pacers will pull out this win, but it's going to be a tough one. There's time. There's time for them to work on their chemistry right now, and Lowry came out and said he's playing like trash.
Honest man.
And DeRozan said that also, but it's probably just helping his teammate out. Didn't want him to feel like crap. So,
right on.
Yeah, so I feel like this one's going to be a nail biter, but I feel like I agree. I'll agree with you on this last one.
He's
Kyle.
Agreeing, everybody. He's agreeing. Yep. We're in agreement.
I'll agree. So I feel like this could end on a last-second shot.
Okay. Are you picking the Pacers to win in their 9th straight?
No, I expect them to miss the last-second shot. Yes, I expect them to win.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
Well, you have to be clear, Rhett. These things, you can't just assume. Well, good. All right. He's picking the Pacers 9th in a row, so that means everybody. Folks, by next week's show, we believe the Pacers will be on a 9-game winning streak. Wow. Very impressive. Indiana, before we wrap it up here, Rhett, it is worth mentioning, Indiana is now 29-34, just 5 games under 500, and they're in sole possession of the number 7 seed.
Chasing that 6th seed as the Bucks hold, and I am looking forward to seeing if the Bucks start to fall apart and drop that seed.
Absolutely. Well, how about the Raptors? I mean, this East, teams are moving up and down. It's like a slip and slide out there. But really, when you look at it, the Raptors are really falling. So who knows how far Indiana can climb up. All they need to do is to keep taking care of business and winning. The guys have said it in postgame. Vogel keeps telling the guys to focus one game at a time. Do what you can because every game can swing you 2 spots.
Yeah.
So just play your best basketball, get back to your defensive identity, and Indiana's done that, and Indiana's winning. And you know what? The more Indiana wins, the more other teams that are chasing them or that are ahead of them are going to start getting a little bit worried.
Yeah,
They need to start playing well.
In the end, I would like to see Indiana play Cleveland in the first round. I want to see it.
That's the matchup. That's the matchup as of right now if the playoffs were to start.
And I think that a lot of people would like to see it. I'd like to see LeBron go down.
Absolutely. Hey, LeBron has had the Pacers number the last few years. I would love to see the Pacers play a top quality opponent like that in the first round matchup. So I agree with that. Let's see if the Pacers
shake them up a little bit.
That's right. Let's see if the Pacers can keep up their hot streak. We predict 9 games in a row, won by next week's show. See if the Pacers can keep rolling. Well, to recap what was talked about on the show, we discussed the Pacers' last 4 games. We answered the question, will Paul George go down as the greatest Pacer of all time when his career is over? And we previewed Indiana's next 3 games. That is all we have for tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, you got to have a little positivity. Next 3 wins.
That's right.
There you go. You go.
Next 3 wins. That's how we're predicting it, at least. We will see. That is all we have for tonight, though. We thank you for tuning into our show. Feel free to leave any comments, tweet and retweet the show at Kyle M. Newman, at Rhett Hensley. We will be back at it next Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern Time. I'm Kyle Newman.
And I'm Rhett Hensley.